Title: CPS took me from my abusive home. I thought my life was over. Turns out it was just beginning. Now my old family wants back in. Post: I've never written this all out before, but I think it's time. Maybe someone out there needs to hear it. Maybe the kid I used to be does too. My name is Mateo. I'm 33 now, living in Barcelona, working as a structural engineer. I design homes for families who need safety, dignity, and light. But I didn't grow up in one of those homes. I grew up in a place where silence was survival. I was born in Valencia to Luis and Camila. My father was violent, physically, emotionally, unpredictably. He'd explode over spilled water, over a look he didn't like, over nothing. My mother wasn't a victim in the way people assume. She didn't protect me. She didn't try. She'd scream at me when I cried, call me weak, say I was just like him. Sometimes she joined in. Sometimes she watched. Always, she let it happen. I learned early how to disappear. I wore long sleeves in summer. I flinched at footsteps. I never invited anyone over. I hoarded food. I checked the locks 5 times a night. Teachers called me withdrawn. No one asked why. Until one day, someone did. I was 11. A school counselor named Marta noticed bruises on my arm and a burn mark near my wrist. I lied, said I fell. She didn't buy it. She called CPS. I remember the day they came. I thought I was being punished. I thought they'd send me somewhere worse. Instead, they saved me. I was placed with Ana and Javier, a foster couple in Girona. They had one biological son, Nico, who was 13 at the time. I was terrified of him at first. I thought he'd bully me. I thought he'd hate me. But Nico was patient. He didn't ask questions. He just sat beside me at dinner and passed the bread without saying a word. That silence was the kindest thing anyone had ever given me. Anna was a retired art teacher. She noticed I liked sketching buildings and bridges. She bought me graph paper, let me rearrange furniture to test layouts. Javier worked in construction. He started bringing home blueprints for me to study. Nico would help me build models out of cardboard and glue. We weren't just a family, we were a team. After a year, Anna and Javier asked if I wanted to stay permanently. I didn't understand what that meant at first. But when Anna said, "We'd like to adopt you, if you're ready," I cried harder than I ever had. Not because I was sad, but because I didn't know people could choose you like that. They became my parents. Nico became my brother. And that choice changed everything. I still had nightmares. I still checked the locks. But I also started to heal. I found comfort in structure, literally. I love building things. I love the logic of it. The way structures held weight. The way things could be designed to last. I studied engineering. Graduated top of my class. Got hired by a firm that builds sustainable housing. Now I lead a team that designs homes for families like mine used to be. Families who need safety, light, and dignity. I've donated to shelters. I've mentored foster kids. I even renovated the school counseling center that saved me. I named it after Ana and Javier. And then, last month I got a message. It was from my biological cousin. She said my mother had seen an article about me in a local paper, that she was proud of me, that she wanted to reconnect. I didn't know how to respond. A week later, I got a handwritten letter from Camila, my mother. She said she was sorry, that she didn't know how to be a mother back then, that she missed me every day, that she wanted to meet. I stared at that letter for hours. Here's the thing. I've spent years rebuilding myself from the ground up. I've gone to therapy. I've worked through the trauma. I've built a life rooted in safety, love, and purpose. And now, the woman who told me I deserved to be hurt wants back in. I talked to Ana and Javier. I talked to Nico. They all said the same thing. You don't owe her anything. And they're right. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm just protective. Of myself. Of the boy I used to be. Of the man I've become. I haven't responded to the letter. Maybe I never will. Maybe that's okay. If you're reading this and you've been through something similar, I want you to know you don't owe anyone access to your healing. Forgiveness is yours to give or not. Boundaries are not cruelty. They're survival. Thanks for listening. Update. My abusive mother wants to reconnect after years of silence. I finally made a decision. Post. Hey Reddit. A few months ago, I shared my story. How CPS took me from an abusive home. How Anna and Javier adopted me. How their son Nico became my brother. And how I built a life rooted in safety and purpose. I also shared that my biological mother, Camila, reached out after seeing an article about me. She said she was proud. She said she missed me. She wanted to meet. I didn't respond right away. I didn't know how. For weeks, I carried that letter around like a weight. I'd read it in the quiet moments, on the train, before bed, in the middle of the night when old memories crept in. I kept asking myself, what does she want? Closure? Redemption? Forgiveness? And more importantly, what do I want? I talked to Anna and Javier. They were supportive, but cautious. Javier said, you don't owe her anything, but if you need answers, you're allowed to seek them. Anna just held my hand and said, whatever you choose, we're here. But it was Nico who helped me see things clearly. We were walking through one of my housing sites. He helps me with community outreach now. And he said, I remember the first time you came home. You didn't speak for 3 days. I thought you hated me. But then you asked if I wanted to build a fort, and I knew you were trying. I laughed. Then he got serious. You've spent your whole life building things, Mateo. But some things aren't meant to be rebuilt. Some things are better left as ruins. That hit me hard. So I wrote a letter. Not to reconnect, not to reopen wounds, but to close
the more
them.
we go out
I told
and
Camila
explore,
that I've built
the
a
more
life
we
I'm
begin
proud
to
of.
see what
That
we
I've found
are truly
love,
capable
safety, and family. That I've forgiven her, not for her sake, but for mine. But I also told her that I'm not interested in a relationship. That my healing doesn't include reopening the door she closed so many times. I mailed it. Then I went to the library I helped renovate, the one I named after Anna and Javier. I sat in the reading room and watched a little boy sketching a house with colored pencils. He looked just like I did at his age. Quiet, focused, hopeful. I don't know his story, but I know mine. And I know that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is choose peace over permission. Thanks for listening. Again,